Alright, welcome to another video with One-Eyed Cat. In this video, I'm going to go over some of my little custom elemental builds. I don't have time to put in the full description of every single one, but basically, I'm in Act 2, I'm about to take on the Cursed KuoToa. I have not confronted Ketheric or gotten Minthara yet, but it doesn't really matter. In fact, you can see my potions of flying wearing off because I flew over the fetid pit. Anyway. So here's an example of my thunder build. Notice that I have gloves of thievery on. I should probably equip my gloves of belligerent skies as part of the build because I'm about to take someone on. What is this? Yeah, I said that to cancel right now. Alright, I have my stormy clamor. When you inflict a condition, you also inflict 2 turns of reverb. There's not really a hat for the thunder build. Valor Alluve is the only finesse weapon for thunder, and it's because you have to use the shriek option. There's not really a shield for thunder. I might look and see if there's a shield for reverb, but I don't think there is. The sentient amulet gives you an extra shatter spell or 2, so that's actually worth it for now. The ring of absolute force, but you don't have the absolute's brand, so actually I don't even know I have it on. I shouldn't have even had it on because it doesn't help me. This is because I'm the face character. I'm about to go and wake up Daniel, blah blah blah. This will be important because in the game I'm going to sometimes drink a potion of strength for bosses, just to have a better shot. So that's my thunder build so far. Forgot to mention, level 1 Tempest Cleric gives you like a defensive reaction, but right now I'm level 7 Lore Bard because it gives me Thunderous Smite for Magical Secrets, which is basically the only smite you can really have as a bard that I remember. I could be wrong, I have to go look at it again, but I'm pretty sure it is. That doesn't even need to be here. Well, I'll hold on. This is Shadowheart Radiant Cleric build. I'm sort of leaving her with this right now. I can't really think of any other way to cram more Radiant spells into this other than going Paladin, and like I really don't want to have to do that. She needs to be the healer in the party, but I mean I might. Anyway, the Holy Lance Helm is great because if they attack you, then you can like do damage against them. This causes Radiant Shockwave when you hit people. Yeah, when you deal Radiant damage. Luminous Gloves causes people to get Radiating Orb. This is just because she's a healer, because there's really not any Radiant boots that I know of off the top of my head. Blood of Lathander is a great weapon. I love it. The Safeguard Shield is just because I want her to have a shield. I don't think there's like an actual Radiant shield, or at least not available by Act 2, which is where I'm at. This one, now, some people have pointed out that technically, like, the armor and the gloves with the ring can be overkill because you're, like, it gives all these different options of, like, hitting people with Radiant Orb, or Radiating Orb. I actually like it because that means I'm almost always guaranteed. And that's about the only Radiant ring that I know of off the top of my head by Act 2. Darkfire Shortbow only because it gives haste. But keep in mind, if you're going to run around hitting people with Spirit Guardians, which is one of the major mechanics, you can't really use haste currently with it. So that might change your options.
Lost in thought.
Gale is my lightning sorcerer right now. Level 1 Tempest Cleric sorcerer. Now, technically, wizards have more lightning spells in the sense that they get conjures. So, like elementals and minor elementals and myrmidons and stuff. So, towards the end of the game, like level 11, it would still technically give you more lightning spells to be a wizard. But the downside is you don't get like all these amazing damage output stuff. So you'd basically have to be haste, but you still wouldn't get a chance to twin spell and stuff. So sorcerer will do probably more damage in reality, but wizards would be more like for meat shields because you'd go into combat with your conjures going. But yeah, he's got all the lightning spells. That's what he does. This is not a build that I developed necessarily because a lot of the elements have been described by other people. Like there's the Jolty Vest, the Sparkle Hands. Even if you aren't doing unarmed attacks, you still get advantage against metal constructs and stuff. the Speedy Light feat. There's the other boots that basically electrify water when you stand in it. I don't like those because then it becomes more of a hazard during a fight, because then you're trying to like get your characters to avoid it. This is more about like the lightning charges that it gives you. This lightning aura I'll show you in the game. There's not really like an amulet for lightning that I remember yet. Sparks Wall prevents you from being electrocuted, so you can basically you can just about call down lightning on yourself and like not get electrocuted. But whatever. And then finally,
Defender of the people.
this is Will, and he's doing cold. There's not really any helmets or headwear for cold damage. Ice Bite Robe is nice because what it allows you to do is cast Armor of Agathis on yourself, meaning that you don't really have to take a level of Warlock to get Armor of Agathis to get all the cold spells if you don't want to. Now I can cast
Defender of the people
because I'm about to go into combat, but it'll give you a nice 17, so it's really not that bad as long as you remember to run Mage Armor. Morning Frost is the best, perhaps the best weapon in the game for cold damage, because it also, like, the Ray of Frost ignores resistance. Granted, I did want to show you something briefly. I take Elemental Affinity because I like punching through resistance, but it'll depend on the build whether or not it's effective. Actually, because I don't get 3 feats, taking this feat might be a bad idea with this specific build.
The pride of the gate.
With Will being completely pure wizard, it actually probably would make a lot of sense to take Elemental Affinity as a feat, because I'll get the other 2 feats to bump my intelligence to 20 and then I'll be good. But anyway, so you get the basics of this. The Ring of Elemental Infusion, it infuses your weapon, but you don't really need that necessarily. It's just a good thing to have. Not much else here can be brought into this, although I would point out, make sure you get a light crossbow if you're a wizard, because that's about the only thing you're proficient in. So you get the basic idea of the builds, and so without further ado, we're going to come over here.
Moving ahead.
It's supposed to trigger, well, I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to ungroup. So, usually when you walk over here, you notice the ambush, but in this case, no one noticed. No one at all. It's like, you guys really? So I'm just going to position everyone, and I'm just going to start it off.
Most excellent.
Gale is usually best over here because of the cheats come up that side.
I'm ready.
By the way, if you don't want spoilers as to how to beat this specific one, you might as well go ahead and stop watching at this point. No judgment.
Let's get going.
But I'm going to position all my people
Let's be on
since
my way.
Notice the things that are going on over here. Okay, well that started it actually, so never mind. That's fine. Alright, so I'm going to show you this. Now, with Valor Alove, you'd have to basically, you'd have, it's almost like having a chainsaw. You have to, grab the handle and pull to, start your sword up. But basically, you'd want to start it up when you can, because it's going to offer a, an area of effect, so that enemies that are being hit within that area of effect are getting extra thunder damage. I'm not going to do that. Rather than hit these guys with an area of effect spell right now, so that I do more damage to all of them than just getting them all. Because if I start up the sword now, I haven't done any damage. I don't have haste on this one because it's just a bard, so I'm sort of stuck. I'll go over here. So let's see here. You have haste. Get over here and in position.
Finding my way.
Ice Knife can be used as an area of effect also. So I'm going to hit them.
You seem very
because you get to cancel people's damage. That's like almost 70 damage, or probably around 70 damage I just did to all of them. The one that didn't die is knocked over. So, very effective. Ice Knife can be very effective. I know that there's Ice Storm and I prefer that, but whatever. So, Will, I'm going to go ahead and hate I want to point something out, just so you're paying attention. Lightning and cold, they're vulnerable to those 2 things. So I don't want you to think that maybe these builds are overpowered or anything, because honestly they're not. They're just basically following the stuff. Now, Elemental Infinity feat, that would prevent them from being able to see see they're already vulnerable, so I already got like, 160 something damage out of the two of them, right? So then I'm going to do that. I'm going to handle that because Shadowheart's going to handle the others. A light cleric only really gets one area of effect at this level, and that's Radiance of the Dawn. It's fantastic. That would be better than starting up my Spirit Guardians and running around hitting people with them. I'd get more damage that way. I already used the haste for my Darkfire short bow. I'm going to take a long rest after this, but if I had haste, I've actually hit people with Radiance of the Dawn twice in a turn. I think you can have up to 2 per long rest, but I'll just show you how it is so that you can see how it is. See if I can get that one all the way over here in the damage field. Yep, I barely can.
What should I do?
I did almost like 70 damage at a time. And like notice though, like I have so much equipment that does Radiant Orb that like basically if they even freaking sneeze, they get Radiant Orb. So, but that's a helpful thing because it's sort of like a mild debuff. In my experience, is how it seems to act. Now the irony is they're going to throw nets to try to ensnare you. And I find that ironic because you'd think that they would hate nets because usually nets are how their brethren are, brought to the water. I would think that they would imagine some sort of... Oh, did you notice when he hit her? He took, or missed her, he took a point of radiant damage. These points start adding up. Yep, see they're getting hit with minor damages when they miss her, which is actually pretty nifty. Alright, so now, because they... Ow! Kitten. I love you, kitten, but stop it. I have a kitten that I have to try to pacify. I might have to shut her out of the room while I do this. Alright, so now because I can't really do any area of effects because of the fact that they're too far apart, I'm going to go ahead and start up Valor Aluve.
Still breathing.
One is supposed to stick to their thunder element or whatever element they have, right? Yeah, like he's barely in range. The singing, the singing sword shriek thing. So there's that.
On the victor's path.
Alright, so then what I'm going to do... Alright, I don't have haste because I already expended it, so... This one, notice though, both of them, Ray of Frost and see, 2 thunder damage meant that his total damage was 22. So there's that. That's good. We are hasted, so we have another opportunity to use Ray of Frost. Now, notice that having Ray of Frost is almost not worth having on the Morning Frost staff, because it really doesn't matter because we already can get the cantrip. But notice that the effect is that it casts Chilled on us, or can cast Chilled, or affect them with Chilled. We do damage to them. I'm gonna have to walk my kitten out of here. So having that condition is just gonna be another boon for our attacks. And also, it does look pretty cool in terms of all the cold element looking stuff. Alright, so since they're close enough, I want to show you something. I don't have to do it this way, but I'm going to show it anyway. I should probably not walk away. But anyway, as a sorcerer, you can twin the spell Shock. It's a cantrip, and it can do a lot of damage. These guys, like I said, they're vulnerable to that damage, but, Alright, Lightning Jabber. This is a great weapon to have if you're an Eldritch Knight. I think Eldritch Knight is the only one that can do a weapon bond, in the sense of being able to throw any weapon and it returns. And if you combine that with the Ring of Flinging in Act 1, it becomes very useful, but I'm just showing you because I want to. So I killed both of those guys that way. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to try to maximize my damage. I'm going to maximize my damage per turn, even though, it's sort of... I'm hitting these guys with a lightning blast. Try not to hit that chest. Like, the reason why the numbers are so high is because this race is vulnerable to lightning. But still, I mean, you know, wipe out that many in one turn, it's great.
Can't afford to let up.
I have my second Radiance of the Dawn that I can technically cast.
Let's end this.
Yep. And of course everyone gets Radiating Orb again, if they didn't already have it. Notice he missed, and he got 3 radiant damage. I love the Holy Lance Helm. It does a great job keeping Shadowheart alive. Alright, so my sword is in Shriek mode, so I might as well just hit him with it. I want to point out that I got this from Lore Bard, Magical Secrets. It's actually really nice to have. It's like about the only smite a Bard can really have access to. And it does a lot of good stuff. So yeah, all those hits, like some of that was like the sword and some of that was like the spell. It's good stuff.
No holding back.
This is why I want to encourage people to like try out all of the spells and stuff that
Watch
they
and learn.
do and like the builds that they do. You don't ever know. By the way, that's thunder from the Shrieking Sword. You never know what builds might actually do really cool stuff together.
Finding my way.
That's why it's best to try them out. So I definitely encourage you all to try out I tried to save from the Insidious Cold condition, and it was not successful because of cutting words.
Allow me to demonstrate.
I always like having at least one bard in the party for their stuff. So we're down to 1 enemy. Can you do it? Yes, you can. 18 damage. That's good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and round everyone
Need to
up.
find a way forward.
I'm gonna like loot this area, and I'm not gonna subject you to watching me loot this area. But basically, that's how everything works. My builds are more. I'll be honest and say they're more of a glass cannon.
Sharp as ever.
Because I have like a cleric. I have a wizard here, a cleric here. Well, no, a sorcerer here, right, and a bard here.
I'm exhausted.
These
Better
builds
find
are a
somewhere
little
to
bit more
camp
glass
soon.
cannon because, like, technically they could probably get beat up pretty quick. But they also do a lot of damage as well. So like I want to say thank you to the guys at Game Strategy or GameStagy or however you pronounce that, as well as Extra Life, Extra Life, however it's pronounced. There's a lot of good people out there with a lot of good builds that I want to say thank you. I learned a lot from your stuff. This is One-Eyed Cat signing out.